Okay, there's been a stat that's going out there about how these Thunder, like it might feel familiar, the sheer dominance that Oklahoma City has had, because it's very comparable to Chicago, and it's very comparable to what Golden State was doing a couple years back with the Splash Brothers, with and without KD. But I think my thoughts on it are it's very easy to go make comparisons and how okay, this Thunder team, it's a young team, they got draft picks, they got future, like this is the team, this is the next dynasty. Not so fast, my friends. To quote Lee Corso, I think what is in the Thunder's way, I would say, is the Thunder, and it's kind of what was in the way with the last core nucleus of the Thunder with KD, Russ, Harden. Now, do I think the Thunder are going to win the championship this year? Very well, yeah. Like they have a pretty damn good team. The thing with the Thunder is, and when you look at those stats and look at the comparisons of, we haven't had this team win this many games since the Bulls and since the Warriors and stuff. I feel like there's context to it, and there's context to it also, and I think that context is with the regular season. And I would like to take a little deep dive into this and look at it too. Once it's all said and done in the off season and stuff, after they've won is we live in a different era and generation of the NBA where out of these wins, yes, you won a lot. You secured the number one overall seed in the West. How many of these games that you won, how many were the star players for the other team sitting? Like, I remember one game, like, because they played the Lakers 2 out of 3 games. And I remember in one of them, either Luka or LeBron was injured, and they won one of those. And then they lost one too because they split 1-1 with the Lakers there. But like I'm looking what if in the middle of November or December when they're playing the Bucks, Dame has something wrong with his hammy, or Giannis is out with an ankle or something like that. And so, as impressive as it is with how many wins they got, there's parts of me that feel like they got this many wins, but how many of these wins against like top teams? Like, what if they played the Knicks in the regular season, but Mikal Bridges was sitting out or Cat was sitting out? What if they played the Sixers? And we all know this because every team that plays the Sixers knew this. Paul George was sitting for how long? Joel Embiid was out for how long? And so I'm kind of with records now as we move forward with the NBA and we look at how well they do, how many wins they have. Let's start comparing is with with the load toll that like these players get. There's a lot of games where a lot of big names they sit some of these games. And I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but like it's easier. And I think this is what surprises us with the Indiana Pacers. What if their record and their seeding didn't say the full story, where okay, they lost this many games in the final overall seedings because what if Naismith was out for X amount of games? What if Halliburton was out for X amount of games? Siakam, but we don't remember. Does that make sense? I know it might sound like a little, okay, where are you going with this? I'm just saying it in the approach of you look at the Warriors when the Warriors won all those games. They weren't sitting too often. Like when the Warriors went, I believe it was 24-0, and then they lost the 25th game, or when they won all those games and only lost 9 games back in 2016. How many of those games were Curry sitting, Klay Thompson sitting? So that's where I make the comparison, and it's not to diminish what the Thunder have going, and it's not to say, oh, we can't compare the Thunder to the Bulls. We can't compare the Thunder to the Warriors. It feels, oh, this is a mockery. It's just comparing eras. Like I don't feel like, and maybe they were, and I don't know this, but like, were the Warriors sitting out as many games? Were the Bulls sitting out as many games when they were winning all these games? Or is Jordan getting his guys together and they're like, hell, I don't give a shit if we're playing back-to-backs. We got to play the Sacramento Kings and then fly across country, go play the Knicks. All of us are playing in every single one of these games. So I don't know. That's something I can look into a little bit deeper. But I think the comparisons can be there. But let's look at it a little deeper because load management has definitely become an issue in the NBA, and I think it'll eventually fix itself. But that's just my thoughts on that.